there we are. There it is. We're back. Back again. Tell a friend. Okay, so in the beginning I got accidentally kind of like double clicked there on the start stream button. It went like click, click. So I had to start over. But I did take the chance though to remove the explicit thingy and the suggestive themes or whatever, because right now what we're going to do is just very different from before, which is basically, oh, this is the music I just used, by the way. I'm gonna be showing you from now on just to make sure that like I credit the artists. This is not the art. Infraction is the artist. This guy reposted it, I guess. But yeah, it's by Infraction and it's called Almost Evil. Anyway, and here we are, and I don't remember exactly where we were, but you know the rules. I'm just gonna mute myself, and I will be unmuting and commenting whenever I feel I should. And that's the rules basically. Okay, so let's go into it, and if there are any issues with the sound, you let me know, I suppose, and that's it basically. Yeah, we're good to go, I suppose. So yeah, I'll mute myself and let's go.
Like that stopped, and then she wasn't able to support herself, so I was having to figure out ways to make money and try to like piece together money. She would borrow money sometimes from my dad, and it was in general like a very, very negative situation, and so we never really had it.
So it seems we are oh wow, okay, nice frame. It seems we are we left last time where Asmon was commenting on his money situation back then. All right, so quick note, I am just very much against borrowing money. If someone wants to gift you something, sure, but borrowing is completely different, and I think it should be avoided under all circumstances. And this might sound harsh, but I would say on the other side of the same coin also, don't lend money. Okay, don't borrow, don't lend. Gift if you have to, if you're feeling it, or ask for money if you're feeling it. But this whole I'll give it back and whatnot, all that shit is like, they should have stayed, in case you're not aware, they should have stayed in your school life, right? When you would borrow some lunch money from somebody. And that's it. You should have learned by then that it's not a good idea, and it never ends well. Even if it does end well once or twice, you know, third time is gonna be really shit. Anyway, that's just my experience. So yeah, borrowing money, holy shit. I don't know, just don't do it, I think. Just don't do it. Theoretically, you could, if it's a person that you really, really trust, beyond any shadow of any doubt, like absolutely blindly trust, and you're sure that they also absolutely blindly trust you, because otherwise, and that's just in theory even, it's not even something I would recommend, you know? If you have to ask for stuff, then ask for stuff. Ask for food, ask for water. Don't ask to borrow money, okay? Worst case scenario, ask for money, but not borrow money. Anyway.
Any money. This was the time where, you know, I was pretty much, ironically, at the peak of my degeneracy. I was probably one of the highest rated warriors in WoW. At the time, it was great, but not necessarily in real life. And so at this point, I had pretty much completely disconnected myself from the way that people saw me. And I stopped caring about the way that people saw me, because I pretty much gave up on being like a normal person. I gave up on being accepted by the public. I gave up on living a normal life, or, you know, having a family or anything like that. I just felt like I just was not capable of that based off of my experiences that I had.
That is very interesting, because if you remember last time, I did say that when I reached the point like that, I just decided fuck everyone and fuck everything, and I'm just gonna do things my way, and I'll fucking show them, you know. However, that's not mutually exclusive with feeling what Asmon is saying here, where in your heart of hearts, even before that point, you already know you're never gonna fit in exactly. You can mask and pass as a normal person, but you're never gonna fit in. And it's good to give up on that idea because fitting in is overrated. And you know, there is a place for people who don't fit in among the people who do fit in. As fucking, that sounds like a paradox when you say it out loud, but it's not. You know, just really just be yourself. Don't try to fit in if you can't. You know, if your circumstances just prevent you, and by circumstances I mean your mentality, your emotional state, the phase you're going. Like, it's okay. Just ride that wave. Just ride that fucking wave. It's okay. You know, don't wear it like a badge of honor. Don't hide behind it. Don't use it as an excuse to be a shit person and do inexplicably stupid things. But rather just accept it and you know, through that allow others the chance to accept it as not something wild and alien, but rather, you know, something they can get behind. Yeah. That said, I do have abandoned all notions of having a family. I know that I will never be able to. I don't want to, actually, which is why I'll never be able to. My standards for even starting a family are probably unrealistic, and I think they will remain that way. If I ever had a son or daughter or a child anyway, I would want them to live a dream life, to provide a dream life, and I know that I never will be able to. And you know, never say never, of course, but at the same time, you know, I'm not gonna go and put myself through 9 years, 10 years, 11 years of fucking torture just to end up with a grown-ass human. I would probably adopt someone. If I was going to do it, I would do that. There is like plenty of people with no family, and there are plenty of people in the world as it is. Don't need to, you know, to play Russian roulette there or add to the problems. Just take care of what's there, is my opinion. I mean, in my head, we also choose our family, so I would never feel like there is, you know, a gap because blood doesn't connect us or whatever. So yeah, I mean, and you know, also I know that, like, I know it's problematic to adopt, or it's considered problematic, excuse me, to adopt like older children, but in my opinion, that's where you should start. That's where you should start. Like, if you want to adopt, consider like a later age, for many reasons, you know, because it's also never too late to salvage a person from perhaps a life that will deny them a lot of things. I'm trying to be neutral in my wording, if you can't tell, but yeah, that's what I would do, because it also helps me to skip the whole growing up part, which I'm not made for that shit. I'm sorry. I'm just not made for that shit. I would have some laughs doing it because I would probably just, I don't know, have some fun with it. Because yeah, you know, a baby I guess can be fun, but like having a baby is not about fun. So I'm not something, you know, I'm not someone or something, if you want, that would commit to such an ordeal, which is also an emotional and monetary ordeal and everything ordeal. Like, I don't think it's worth it for me, and I don't think I'm properly equipped to oversee someone's growing up, you know, from zero to hero. But I do believe I am equipped to help someone older navigate, for example, or at least I would say I am, if I could offer them a fucking dream life, as I said, which I can't. So by default, this whole conversation is moot. But my point was, yeah, among the other things that you realize when you realize you don't really fit in, is like you can't go with the norms. You can't like be like, oh, I'm gonna be a family girl. I'm gonna be, yeah. You just, yeah, you can't. I mean, look at me. I'm 42 years old. I'm on a stream, shaking my ass for you, working out, playing games, and saying the word cock way too often and making inappropriate jokes. I mean, yeah, you get it, right? I mean, it's, yeah, whatever. You either get it or you don't. But let's move on.
and I had many other ones too. Like I stabbed somebody and a few other things too. I probably wouldn't even say because they would too drastically alter people's perception of me. But either way, a lot of these instances where I kind of was like, okay, this is bad. Maybe it's better that I'm quarantined in my house. And so anyway, I did this a lot, and my mom and I, like, it was really just kind of the two of us. My dad was there; he was supportive, and he always had.
Interesting that Asmongold felt that because of himself, but I felt it because of bullying several times, that it would be better if I just stayed in. And it's something that I could handle and counter efficiently up until COVID started. And then it just kind of like snowballed.
Has been supportive. But other than that, I do have family, but none of them live in the state of Texas. And so any trouble, any problems, anything like that, it was pretty much entirely on me to resolve this issue. And so take care of my mom, pay for things, anything like that, it was always on me. And her health started deteriorating.
So my question is, why is there a distortion around him? That is like my only... it's weird, like watch this a little bit. Notice here, this is going to distort a little bit, but who knows what it is. I'm not an expert, but I just noticed it, that's all. But you can notice it too.
On me to resolve this.
Do you see it? It's like it's wobbly. Interesting. Is it some kind of filter or... I don't know. I don't know enough about this shit, but yeah, wobbly.
Issue. And so take care of my mom, pay for things, anything like that, it was always on me. And her health started deteriorating at about the same time. This is big surprise. You smoke since you're 16. You spend your entire time smoking cigarettes, watching Ancient Aliens, and fucking around on the internet playing WoW, and you're overweight massively like she was. This isn't good for your health, especially when you're getting into your 60s, which she was at that time, because she had me when she was like 39.
Wait, are we to understand that Asmongold's mother was like a religious zealot, essentially, from what he's told us, who played World of Warcraft and fucked around there, smoking ever since he was 16? Or is he talking about himself? I'm a bit lost there. If he's describing his mother, that's crazy. But anyway...
9.5 or 40 or something. And so at this point, her health was deteriorating, and I remember like she had like a number of instances where like I would like wake up and I hear her like screaming because she would like I don't even really know what the fuck was wrong with her. I don't know. It was like a weird thing where like she couldn't see out of her eye, and then she had like some kind of like I think like a bleed in her eye, and then she had like I think it wasn't really a heart attack. There was like some sort of like variation of that. And I remember like her like begging me not to call the ambulance, and this is just like, and this is at the same time that the house is fucking, we can barely pay for the house. We're worried about getting evicted from the house. We have no AC, or no, we did have AC. We didn't have heat, and so I would go to sleep, and like the house would be so cold because I would just give her the heater. And I always viewed it as like, oh, I'm sleeping out on Mount Everest, right? It's like, I'm cosplaying as Bear Grylls. And I remember like my glass of water in my room, there would have like ice crystals on the edge of it, right? Because of how fucking cold it was. And so I did that really for like 2 years. And so we like...
Holy shit, dude. It reminds me of some situations I've been through because of my my older brother. Maybe I've told you a bit about him. And of my mother. But yeah, I'm no stranger to waking up to screams and other stuff. I'm not gonna go into it, but holy shit, like second time I feel like I have to hug the guy. Yeah, this is like brutal.
Like basically like zero money. And so this happened, and pretty much like her health would deteriorate more and more and more to the point where she couldn't drive, she couldn't do X, she couldn't do Y, she couldn't get a job anymore. And then it relied on me more and more to completely support her in like pretty much all ways. And so, and I remember she would like beg, like she was like on the ground like crying, begging me not to call an ambulance. And so this was very upsetting for me, by the way. Like I got to the point where like at this time period I would wake up like every 2 hours or so with like a weird thing where I would hear her screaming my name, and this went on for maybe like 6 months to a year. And
So holy shit again, because so my mother, being the narcissist that she is, when I didn't have my own apartment and I was forced to, for the most of the day, live with a family, quote unquote, whatever the fuck family means anyway in this instance. Um, my mother was the kind of person, and is the kind of person who um, will yell at you. If she wanted anything throughout my life, I remember she was always like that. She expected people to come to her like some kind of trained dog, which she passively aggressively enforced by screaming louder and louder your name. And it got to the point exactly what Asmongol is saying here. Also, if I say Asriel, it's because I'm, brain confusion and dyslexia, because because of my friend Asriel. But I mean Asmongold, obviously. If I say that, if I do that, because I won't notice sometimes. Anyway, and so my mother would be like, scream my name, and that resulted, TLDR, in what Asmongold is describing, where sometimes in my sleep, I would hear her call my dead name. I would swear that I heard here, but of course no. It's exactly what Asmongold is describing here. It is. I've gone through this. It's not good. It's not good for your nerves.
And also, I want to say that like all of this stuff and everything about it, I don't really like. Everybody in life has problems, and I hope that by sharing my problems, people can kind of see where I'm coming from as a person. I don't really care about sympathy. I don't care about people feeling bad for me. I don't really give a fuck. It doesn't matter to me. I hope that nobody thinks that this is coming off as any form of a like sympathy play. I've had things bad happen in my life. I think that in many cases they've been my fault. I've deserved them, but this is just what's happened. And so anyway, and every action and every outcome in my life leading up to now has led me to the position that I am right now. And I think that in a lot of cases I'm happy with how I am. And you can't just go back and edit out all the bad parts and expect to be in the good part. And so at the same time this was happening, like a lot of my friends were obviously going through college, finishing college, having girlfriends, like moving in and everything. And I was worried about, number one, my mom dying. Number two, being homeless, and number three, at that point, I had always assumed that I would kill myself after high school. Like that was my plan. And Wrath of the Lich King came out, and I just got distracted.
All right, so now we reach the point where this comment hits, and I understand. Yeah, distractions are what carries us, isn't it? Escapism is what carries us sometimes. Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah, his video so far doesn't come off as a plea for empathy or anything, but to me it sounds very genuine. Okay, well, that I don't know why I wanted to say that, but yeah, it was weird growing up and watching everyone worry about the typical stuff that people worry about, like, I don't know, having a car when they grow up a little bit, or being Greece, talking about inheriting their family business or whatever. It's and there I was going like, am I fucking insane? And especially for not caring about that shit. It's weird. Anyway, it's just memories I'm sharing. As I said, I'm not here to give you life lessons. I'm just reacting to Asmon Gold's video. That's all.
I forgot. And so I ended up not doing that. And because of that, I never brushed my teeth in high school. Never really gave a fuck about it. Never cared. And this caused. Guess what that causes?
I started caring about my teeth when it reached it reached red alert, where I was not brushing my teeth. I had the worst breath ever back then. but then I was forced to go to the dentist, and the work that had to be done was so extensive, painful, and dramatic that I knew that from that point on I would take care of my teeth, and I did, and it ended up pretty well, and I'm happy for it. It's okay. And so yeah, I don't know. I'll say this, and you can do with it what you want, and I don't give a shit because it's been tested and tried and found to be true. Um, my health when it comes to my teeth and my mouth anyway and my throat is, knock on wood, really, I don't want to jinx it, but it's top notch. By just brushing once per week. Can you do that and not eat shit? Can you do that and not eat like junk food and like, I don't know, fucking, chocolate every day and like, overdoing it? Like that's all you need to do. Like just brush carefully. And I don't have bad breath, and I don't have like any problems with my mouth or anything like that. And I just brush like once a week, twice. So there is really no fucking excuse for not taking care of your teeth, especially if your mouth needs more care than mine, I suppose. Teeth and eyes and your liver, and possibly other stuff that I'm missing, are parts of your body that are never gonna regenerate, and you don't want to lose them. You don't want to fuck with them. Okay? If you ever are going to fuck with something when it comes to your health, which you shouldn't, let it never be your eyes or teeth or your liver. Not that I ever had any problems with any of them apart from wearing glasses, but I know for a fact, just don't mess with that shit, don't fuck with that. It's gonna fuck you right back if it's too late. So let's move on. And yeah, I'm actually pretty honest. Like I brush once per week, and it's actually fine. And you couldn't tell. You could kiss me like for 20 minutes straight. You could literally explore my mouth with your dick or your tongue, or even your fingers, and you wouldn't fucking notice. You wouldn't notice. Nothing would smell off. Nothing. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Fucking. What can I say? Don't take it wrong, but like maybe fucking genetics. Who the fuck knows? Maybe my mother and father are like that. I don't know. I have no idea. But that's how I am. So somehow that works for me. And it's not like I don't go and get checked at my dentist. I do. Minimum once every 6 months, ideally every 3. And the guy is always kind of like amazed. Don't tell him I told you this, by the way, because he's going to either quit his job or just try to refute it, which is impossible because I have witnesses for that. Like, for example, Neris, when he comes over to visit, he stays with me for like a week or 2. He knows. I'm pretty sure that, he can attest to the not having bad breath, not having morning breath, not having anything. It's really just fine. So I'm not shitting you. It's, do it at least once a week, right? What are you gonna lose? And go to the dentist. Like, if you don't want to do it 3 months, do it 6 months, just a visit, just to make sure.
It causes your teeth to rot out. And so a lot of my teeth had to be, I had to get fillings and everything as a teenager. And my dad paid for a lot of it, which he was very, very unhappy about. And so these fillings would come out. This is what happens with fillings or anything like that. And they did come out, and then of course my teeth deteriorated naturally because I love soda. I love drinking soda. I've got a soda right.
So this is the thing. My feelings are wherever I have a feeling. I don't know what the fuck they're made from. Fucking vibranium. I've never, had a feeling come out or any damage like that. I must be very lucky, so I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, say what you will, and that goes for me too. Say what you will about those dentists. They did a bang job when the time came. So, and the one I'm going to right now is actually a fucking magician at this point. So yeah, that was pretty lucky, I guess, because as Asmon Gold shares here, losing feelings seems to be common. I guess I wouldn't know because it's never happened to me. I don't know, but yeah, cool to know that I've had good dentists, even though some of them were fucking brutal. But yeah, whatever.
Right over there. Went to McDonald's earlier today. Really, really like soda. Like it so much that right now I only have 5 real teeth left in my whole mouth. And I think you start with like 32, which is kind of crazy to think. And so anyway, this happened.
I am 42 and I have nice frame, by the way, again, and I have all my real teeth. I do have fillings, but I have all my real teeth. I consider myself like extremely lucky for that.
And all my teeth were starting to rot out. I was not able to eat with one side of my mouth. I would have these toothaches that would get so bad that I would pass out from the pain. And I eventually had to go to like the like basically, if you're like the people that really get fucked by medical bills are the people that are in the middle of like economically, because if you're broke, like they'll do shit for you for like $10. If they can get anything, they'll do it. And so I had a program like that, and so they would have to pull out my teeth kind of regularly, and that's how I lost. I have no back teeth at all. That's why if you look at my jawline, it's very different than if you look at it from like high school, or like by the age of like 19 or 20. It's completely changed because I've lost all of my teeth, and my jaw bone is like pretty much rotted out. And so, which as far as I know is unfixable, at least in the way that I have this problem. There's a separate problem that is fixable. I don't have that one. I talked to a dentist about it. So it's basically like irreversibly fucked. And so anyway, this happened. And
Yeah, I was going to say that his teeth look to be in perfect condition, and then he basically pre-countered it by already sharing that his teeth are not really real. I am always pro replacement, but like not if, unless it's necessary. I don't want to do it, of course. But the idea that at one point in the future we could possibly, affordably and like as a common thing, replace some things of our body with like just better artificial versions. That is like something. That's a future I would like to live to see. I wouldn't mind such options to exist. I'm against doing it for cosmetic reasons, unless the procedure is so advanced that like it is guaranteed to never backfire or appear off. Because for example, why would you want to bother with your teeth all your life? Even though I did just say brush essentially. But like if you had the option, right? Let's say we're living in I don't know, in like 1,000 years from now, okay, and it's possible, and they're like, okay, one of the regular procedures that you're gonna get when you reach a certain age is like remove all your teeth and replace them with like prosthetics. And yeah, I would, I would, I 100% would, for real. And anything else like that would be, available, I would do it, because at that point it's not just filing your teeth to look like a lizard. No offense, I just don't agree with that shit. Or like giving yourself cat fangs or whatever. Like I don't care about that shit. But if there was a way to replace our most sensitive parts with parts that we never have to worry about, that's different. So yeah, I would do that. Cyberpunk all the way, baby. But you know what I mean, right? Which is strange because at the same time I'm against everything that has to do with like oh, I fucking bleached my eyeball, or I made my eyeball black by injecting octopus ink in there, or whatever else fucking crazy shit people do, or splitting their tongues, or like I don't fucking care about that. I mean, yeah, I'll find it cute, I guess, and I won't have a problem like cuddling with a person like that, but it's not something I would do personally. And I guess I am passively against it, as in, well, you didn't really need to do it, but okay, it's fun. Unless it has like consequences, of course, which at that point I'm against it actively. But yeah, I guess you see what I mean, right? Imagine if it was like a 10-minute ordeal, which is nothing, and like €50, for example, just get all your teeth like plugged out, and then like a proper working replacement plugged in, and that's it, and that's normal, because why would you want to worry about your teeth for your whole life, right? And go through the pains and everything, that kind of thing. Yeah, sure. Everything else that is like adjacent, that is like purely cosmetic and is unnecessary, I would be against that. I hope it makes sense. I hope you can see the difference I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Anyway, Anyway, let's move on.
And it was not a great time. My teeth were rotting out, etc. And at that point, I had to completely, like, pretty much give up the notion and give up the dream of ever being a normal person. At that point, I could feel myself no longer being the same as anybody else, right? And I actually, for a while, I really hated it, but then I got used to it, and then I embraced it, and I think that's where I am now. So I would say like that was from like ages, like I would say 13 to, I don't know, like 21, somewhere around there, right? Then after that, I started doing other stuff. I was playing WoW. I was making videos. I was doing other random things, right? And my mom's like health pretty much would always get worse, and that's just that's just the way it is when you get older, right? And so I would have to do my best to like take care of her, and worked at the IRS for a while. Tried to work at Sam's Club. Didn't really go very well. But overall, I tried to go back to college. I do have a college degree, if you can imagine that. But learned more from business from WoW than I did from business school. And so then I spent that time.
In a way, I know what he's talking about because growing up, I learned a lot of stuff. I know this is gonna sound stupid, okay? It's gonna sound really stupid, and it is actually damaging as well until later on. But it is a band-aid fix at the time, I guess, which a lot of people probably have done without even realizing. Since I grew up with like essentially a father figure and a mother figure whom I fucking detested, um, I found like substitutes in movies. It is a bit relevant to what Asmon is saying, I believe. Yeah, it's difficult to like, because of course these archetypes you're gonna see in movies aren't really realistic. They are basically a front, let's say, and behind it there just isn't any. There isn't the necessary depth that you would want, that you would need to grow up basing on, as a figure, as some kind of figure to inspire you. So there's a lot of gaps you have to fill yourself, which is extremely difficult growing up. And then later on, when you start realizing, like being your own person, let's say, okay, that expression, you start a long and painful process of filtering out the shit that you picked up along the way and trying to keep what makes sense, and then fill the gaps again with what you know at that point, which then repeats. The more you learn, you just repeat the process even without realizing, and it hurts, let's say, to shed parts of yourself, just because you realize slowly that they are reducing your quality of life and your social interactions. But yeah. Anyway, I thought it was relevant.
Time. And then this was all the time, like, me not knowing if she would, every day I would wake up and, like, hear that voice in my mind. And, like, it was really, really bad. And this is just something I would do all the time. And
and I forgot. It's relevant because things like movies and games, they can be sources for those substitutes, right? And whether we like to admit it or not, yes, you can actually pick up useful shit from there. It's all a matter of like how your brain works, I guess. That's the most I can say about it. Like, if you can correlate things and make some assumptions, and whether or not you're willing to confirm or test those assumptions, and how much that's gonna like impact you. Anyway, it feels like I'm talking a different language right now, so I'll stop and let's move on.
try to always make the best out of things. I try to just, not think about it. But, looking back on it, things were very, very bad. And so anyway, fast forward a little bit later, and that's whenever I was like going back to college. I thought that I would just, basically have a shitty job, play video games for my whole life, and then die, right? And then I got a shitty job, and I realized the shitty job is actually a lot more shitty than I thought it would be. So then I remember it was probably like one of the best things that ever happened to me is that I took this job at Sam's Club, and I hated it so much it actually encouraged me to make myself a better person, if you can imagine that. And so I signed up to go back to university and finish another degree that I was working on so I could go to law school. Actually, I wanted to be a lawyer, basically because I had a friend in high school. We would always play Magic the Gathering, and I could see him. He would always manipulate the rules to come out ahead and win different, like, arguments in Magic the Gathering. And I was like, I bet lawyers do that in real life. I should do that myself. And so that was always my motivation. And anyway, I did that, and then a number of other things, random things that are not, I would say like YouTube or public safe that I did, and then after that I started doing YouTube, and then I started doing YouTube, and I focused on that, and I would put videos out of the way that I lived, etc. And people would always find it to be very funny or like weird, and everybody would like really like. There were a lot of people, and this is true even now, people that like hate me for living the way that I do. And I think that really, people look at a person like me.
I believe that if I grew up now, if I was like, let's say that the shit that happened in my life was happening now, right? Everything that happened to me from, I don't know, 8, 9, up to my 38, let's say. If that shit was happening now, it was starting now and I was young, which I am, but I mean young as in like 22 or something like that, you can bet your ass I would be probably doing what Asmon did, because I think that shit is worth sharing. Back then I had no way to share that shit, except word of mouth and people knowing me and knowing people I know, and then learning about me and all that, which had its own charm, of course. But I would definitely share, if I could stream back then. If I had any idea what streaming is, I would probably be making a shit ton of videos about like my nights out, all the little adventures I've had. It's nice to think that that could have made me a living, right? And I'm glad that it worked for Asmongold, and at least he turned it into that. Whereas for me, those stories and those experiences, I can only tell you about them, and only about those that I remember really well. And it just doesn't hit the same as, for example, me pressing or tapping on my screen, pressing a button that's already old, tapping on my screen and sharing what's happening in the moment. I swear to fucking God, even though I'm not religious, but the expression still counts. It would give me material for days, and it would give you like a lot of content to laugh at or laugh with and be interested in. It's pretty interesting to think about. I don't regret, which even if I did regret it, what can you do about it, right? But I don't regret growing up in the 90s, essentially early 90s or late 80s, actually, to be precise. But I think some of the things that I've gone through, I would have liked to literally like stream about or share on YouTube, like I'm sharing now, like these videos. I think it would have been very interesting, especially during the period when I was like co-owning that nightclub. I could have made some really sick little videos like every night that I would go there. But even before that, when I was going as a customer, basically as a regular, it would have been pretty funny. To be fair, it's not like I missed it. I missed the window of opportunity for it. It's like at the time, when it came to, you know, being capable of actually doing that, at the time I had much different priorities than that. But my current self looks at my past self and goes like, dude, that would have been pure gold, pure fucking gold, for Twitch and YouTube, pure fucking gold, a fucking gold mine for real. Everything from my weird friends, I'm weird as well. I'm just, you know, stating, um, to 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 our adventures in like net cafes for LAN parties, to you know, to the crazy Christmas nights that I've been through, to everything else I've ever told you, and much more which I haven't told you about. But yeah, I had very different priorities, and back then it was also like something that I would almost laugh at as an idea. Which yeah, I don't know. Let's go on.
And they see a person who has a number of things in their life that they wish they had, but I've done basically, you know, if you look at it from like, what do they tell you to do when you're growing up? You know, I used every single thing to do as a checklist of what not to do, right? And so,
Oh, and to add to what I said, and oh my god, these frames are perfect every time I press K. But shout out to Katya for, like, Katya, the days, I should say months, maybe even years in some cases, by the way. The years and months that I passed with Katya, that we passed with Katya together here in my house, that alone would have made the top tier fucking stream material. The things we were doing, like the everything, like the imagine if I were to stream to you my prep time for going out clubbing with Katya here, both of us fucking screaming, dancing, drinking, being literally stupid. uh, you would have loved it. I would have loved to stream that shit for you. But yeah, shout out to Katya, I guess, for providing me like some of the most amazing moments in my life, the funniest and most amazing moments, which would have been a gold mine for stream or for, you know, YouTube.
you know, I think that a lot of people could be a little bit, you know, annoyed by that. And so I can see why, and et cetera. And it is disgusting, by the way. And so, you know, missing half your teeth and, you know, living in a dump with a dead rat alarm clock. You don't know if your mom's going to be alive that day. You've got no money. You have to support her. She's never going to be able to support herself. And things are just basically slowly getting worse and worse and worse. And I started doing YouTube, and things started doing a little bit better. I started doing streaming. Things were doing better then. I went to get my teeth fixed because if you look at my old videos, a lot of my old videos, you'd notice that I smile. You know, when I smile, I cover my mouth when I smile. The reason for that is this isn't Saikuno, where I don't like my smile. Yeah, well, I don't like my smile. It's not because I think it's ugly. It's because I didn't have any fucking teeth. I didn't want...
Yeah, I can relate to that because again, like before, I was dragged to the dentist for the first time to finally address my situation as well. I wouldn't smile. I would just never laugh. I would kind of smirk, always in a polite way. I would never. I was very conscious of it. I know that struggle. It's so draining, honestly.
want people to see that. And so that's why I would cover my mouth a lot whenever I first started streaming. And so this happened to me for a long time. I go to the dentist, and they tell me it's going to be like around.
I mean, my camera shyness comes from not being shy, really, but from I'll say this once. I'll never touch on the subject again. You can, you know, assume what you want, I guess, from that point on. But like, it comes mostly from an absolutely wrecked view of myself that I still retain, even though I've, you know, moved away from that like for years. It still happens. And using my camera on Twitch it kind of triggers that, and it makes me want to hide, because I start subconsciously, I think subconsciously I'm just thinking that I'm super ugly, and whatever, just, yeah, you get it, whatever. Let's move on.
$50,000 to get all my teeth fixed and everything taken care of. Then I thought, maybe, because it was the first time at that point where I kind of like, it really hit me that I had like irreversibly and irreparably damaged my life in a way that I couldn't just immediately like undo. Because like as a kid, usually you make a mistake where it's like you scrape your knee and then, well, you put a bandage on and it gets better. But with this, it never was going to get better, and it's only going to get worse, and it certainly has, by the way. And so anyway,
Okay, what's with the sexy bun over there, huh? What's with the sexy, like, that... I'm sorry, but like, I'm not being mean, okay? I'm not being mean, but like, look.
just immediately like undo. Because like as a kid, usually you make a mistake where it's like you scrape your knee and then...
So he does that, and he immediately gets like 50 carries. He immediately gets like the secretly femboy vibe that gives you like 50 charisma or something. I'm not being mean, it's cute, okay? I'm sorry. But yeah, it's like, yeah, okay. All right. Good one.
Well, you put a bandage on.
There, this exactly. All right, okay, Asmon Gold. All right, Asmon Gold, fine. You all right. But yeah, I'll give it up. Fine. Cute little maneuver there, cute animation there. But let's go on. I'm not making fun, by the way. It's just, yeah, I didn't expect like didn't expect that hair twirl is like way too confident. It's nice. Okay, good one. Charisma points, I guess.
On, it gets better. But with this, it never was going to get better, and it's only going to get worse, and it certainly has, by the way. And so, anyway, I did want to kill myself, but I decided instead of killing myself, I'd do something even worse. I'd start streaming. And I started streaming because I wasn't really making enough money. And everybody says, oh, well, I started streaming because, I like interacting with people.
There is a difference in our stories, I guess. I mean, there are a lot of differences, but another difference is that a major one is that I didn't feel like mistakes I did fucked my life. I am pretty much decided that, on the matter of who is responsible for this, and that is my parents, essentially, 100%. And the only exception to this has been when I fucked up, in the sense of like, I couldn't see it coming. The whole scheme or scam, if you will, with the club that I co-owned, I could never see that coming. And I mean, I guess that's also why these scams work, and why, crime pays, which I hate to say, but like, I'm not encouraging you to be criminal, but like, holy shit, in my case, it really paid off for them. And that was my only fuck up, that I will always say that's like absolutely on me. Even though I couldn't see it coming, there was no way. Everything else, including my education, my progress with education and studies and everything else, I'm gonna pile unashamedly and beyond doubt to the situation at my home with my family, which includes like the whole story arc with my brother and other things, and my mother and father being absolute complete narcissists. Yeah, so I guess that's a difference there, because it seems like Asmon Gold really has no one else to blame but himself somehow, even though from what he describes, I wouldn't say that he was positioned well enough for anything much better than what he's describing anyway.
people. It's because I was lonely. Well, I started streaming for money. I needed some fucking money. And so that's what I did.
I wish I could do that. I can stream, but it's never gonna be for money because I don't know. I don't think I don't have any delusions that streaming will make me will improve my life, let's say, other than feeling great doing it, which is already a huge thing to me. But I don't have any delusions as to making it big, you know. As thankful as I am for subscriptions and follows and whatnot, I really hold no illusions about that. I always envy people who make it like that. I think it's very good that you know, I'm happy for Asmon that it worked. I'm jealous, but mostly I'm happy because it worked, and it's a nice success story.
And I was like, guys, we've got a donation goal of $100, and you know, if we get $100, I'm gonna go to Wendy's tomorrow. And I would always meme it up, you know, $1 equals one donut, and it's like, you know, I would make a bunch of money, and it was great. And things actually did go very well. I streamed every single night. I was very dedicated. I tried to make things as entertaining as possible, and you know, I did what I tried to do best, right? And things kind of got better and they improved. This happened just at pretty much the same time. A lot of my friends were kind of evolving and going past, like college, like they were getting careers, getting married, having kids. And like now I'm pretty.
I stopped giving a fuck about my friends' careers and all that the moment they said fuck everything and everyone. I stopped giving a fuck. I was like, nah, I don't care. We're not traveling together, guys. I'm not traveling together. I'm on my own path, I guess. And when I reached up to Koning, a nightclub, I was like, hey, you know, suck on that, bitches. You went through college, you did this, you did that, you were popular, you were pretty, you had all the girls, all the boys. Well, you know what? Fuck you. In the end, I'm the one who made it to the top. And you just got fucking shit jobs. And I know, it's very mean to say, but sometimes you just have to bathe and bask in what you've done, right? Even if it all falls and crumbles, in the moment, you're allowed to fucking pat yourself on the back, in the moment. And you earned that, and that is never that is never going away. It's never going to be taken from you. Even if you lose it the next fucking moment, well, for a moment, you fucking shined like a star in the sky. And if it's more than a moment, you know, every second after that is a bonus, is an extra. And if you make it last for life, that's it. You're done. You basically win. So yeah, that's how I viewed it. I wasn't bothered by my friends or my peers, let's say, levels of success. From a point on, and I'm gonna say this with as much sweetness as I can, from a point on, I viewed them as miserable little wretches because they didn't look like they were having fun to me. And every time I would see that, I would go like, you know, I dodged a fucking bullet there. So all in all, I regret nothing. And yeah, what in the end, I asked myself, like, would you have done it different? Would you have done it different to the point, which goes beyond being a trans woman, right? Would you have done it different? Would you want like a regular ass life with a boyfriend and like a job and a car and like balding in your 30s and fucking, I don't know, being worried about this and like, nah. I'd rather, you know, be somewhat of a fucking pirate in a sense, you know, a little bit of a Caribbean thingy, just do my thing, wave my hand, look pretty, look crazy, and just see where it leads me, you know, just complete privateering over there, you know, just riding the wave, just, you know, just sliding, dude. And would I do it differently? No, never. I would never ever. And I wish that more people had the opportunity to do that, instead of like getting mired in like this absolutely fucking dreadful reality that society lives in, you know. Anyway, you know what? Yeah, let's just move on. It's fine.
Pretty sure. I'm thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure every single friend that I have is either married or has a kid, which is kind of crazy considering that I'm sitting here doing what I'm doing, but it is kind of weird. I'm 34 now, which is honestly a fucking shock. Like
I'll see you when you're over 40, kid. I'll see you when you're over 40, kid.
I can't believe it. I don't feel 34. I feel like I'm still 16. But I look in the mirror, I see my hairline, and I think to myself, oh my god, wait a minute, I think I'm actually 34. And if I'm not.
Wait a fucking minute, your hairline is your problem, buddy. My hairline is fine, and I'm older. And I do feel like, I wouldn't say 16. Come on, dude. You definitely don't feel 16. I know what he's trying to say, but nah. I think I plateaued when it comes to that. I really love that word, by the way. I think I plateaued when it comes to that, like, at my, like, what I feel is like 24 to 26. That, I think that's where my brain is stuck. Like, my child spirit is stuck there, okay? That, I think that's where I will eternally be. Yeah, I don't think I can get over it. I think I think that's where I'm stuck, and I like it there. So yeah. Well, yeah, you have no one else to blame for your hairline other than, I don't know, stress. It's unfair to say, but it's not age, because I know people whose hairline kind of receded, and I know people whose hairline didn't. It's like, you don't have to pile that in there. Is what I'm saying. Come on.
Really not sure. I talked to somebody who's 16, and then I realized, hold up, wait a minute. No, actually, I am 34, because there's no better way to realize that you're actually older until you talk to somebody who's actually younger. At least it is for me. So anyway,
So yes, it depends on the age. I wouldn't even bother talking to anyone who is under 20. I wouldn't even fucking bother. It's pointless. They are fucking muling little shits. Like, you're not gonna ever find anything positive or new there. I'm sorry to say. And if there is something positive to find, that's gonna shine through when they are like 24 or something. So it's pointless. Absolutely pointless. There are some exceptions, but mostly these exceptions are like there to prove the rule, you know, and they're very rare, and even then they're still kids essentially, and so yeah, I mean, over 20 is fine, and in my case, the only times that they will make me feel like I am, again, like 40, let's say 42, just to be super precise about it, is when they'll start noticing, mentioning things like TikTok or something, which I'm like, any sane person with any semblance of intelligence will feel the same way, and it will have nothing to do with age. But especially topics like that, like, oh, look what I found on TikTok. That makes me feel like, oh, you know what, kid, sit the fuck down. Let the grown-ups talk now. But other than that, I mean, I can tell I'm more mature than them to a level where it is difficult to communicate to them some things, because there are things that they have to go through. You can't tell them those things. You can't tell these things to someone. Like, for example, when somebody I know is like around 20 to 24, 26, right? And they bring up perhaps relationship issues, right? And I hear them and I'm like, oh, yeah, I finished that quest when I was like, 20 years younger. And I know how to deal with this quest. I know the mechanics of what you're going through. And if I try to tell them, they don't understand, and they won't listen. And so all I have to say is like, hey, go do your mistakes, buddy. That's what you need. You need to grow up through it. You have to experience it. Go do your mistakes. I'll be here. Tell me what happened. And usually I'm right in what happens. Anyway, but those are the only times that I feel, oh, I'm 40, in the sense of like, I have that experience. I've been there and I've done that, and I know it. So yeah, which can also be a trap a little bit, because you always learn in life, right? Anyway.
My stream was doing very well. My social life, really, I pretty much like stopped interacting with a lot of friends of mine because I focused pretty much just on streaming and on making this as much as possible. And also, I'm a very introverted person in a lot of ways. I like being alone. I don't like people talking to me a whole lot. I don't like phone calls. I don't like interacting with people. I don't like going out. You guys might notice this, right? If it's, a mystery or secret. And so, big surprise, that's how it was. And then, I started streaming. My stream started doing better. And there was a degree of like stress that created. But, and in terms of like my lifestyle and everything, living that way, I never really thought about it at that point. I never really worried too much about like kind of how people would perceive me. I always viewed myself as like, this is just who I am. This is what I am. That's all there is to it. And I never really took, and I still don't really take any criticism or any negativity to heart. I don't take it personally. I don't really care a whole lot. And so at the end of the day, it never really bothered me, and people thought it was funny. And so, I had like these.
I mean, to also say this, right? Because it needs to be said, right? When you've reached that level of success, even if you cared up until that point, at that point and onwards, you will not care, because you're so big, you're untouchable by such meager things at that point, right? Because I assume, like, what is Asmon Gold's like income per month? I'm not even gonna look it up, but like you can look it up and then you can tell me if I'm right and wrong. Like from that point on, even if you are unable to, like, without the success and the money and the publicity, to actually handle it, at that point you will be able to handle it, because just even artificially, right? Though I would suggest learning how to handle that, and learning not to give a shit before, and not basing on crutches. Not that Asmon Gold is basing on crutches. I'm not implying anything like that. I wouldn't know. He seems to me like he would have, no difficulty with handling it anyway, due to his experiences and, how he grew up and everything. But I'm just talking about it generically, more generally, let's say, not generically, more generally. But yeah, crutches like Asmon Gold success, yeah, they're gonna, if by that point you haven't conquered certain things, you will conquer them by force then, if you ever reach that point, of course. Anyway, which is, don't misconstrue what I'm saying here. I'm not saying he's had it easy. I say that from a point on, yeah, he's been having it easy in that regard. As for taking care of his mother and his family, I'm not sure where that went, because no more information was given, and I don't require it either. For what I'm about to say, which is, there's been a time where I could have not done it, but I did do it, and it bit me in the ass in the end. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm never gonna like look after anyone in my family. I think they can all go fuck themselves, pretty much. In a sweet way, they can go fuck themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
A snack box, and there were like maggots in the snack box, and then I would eat the food with the maggots inside of the food. It was like honey buns, which were really, really good.
Like, it's not that, wow, the frames again. It's not that like I am ungrateful for certain things that have happened, right? And one thing that might happen still. But it's just that it's a lot to unpack. Let me try to condense it into something that will make sense to you without giving too much context. But like, it's not their parents that mostly, not even mostly, like that. My parents didn't take care of me, let's say. I mean, you should know that by now. They just didn't. I can't relay how this feels, I'm afraid. Let me put it this way: they could, my parents right now could be giving me, I don't know, €1,000 a month, and I would still feel that they haven't paid off for how they've made me feel throughout my life and all the things that I went through, directly and indirectly, because of them. Let's put it that way. So taking care of them, I mean, I'm not a completely heartless bastard, or bitch, but bastard is the expression mostly used, like heartless bastard, regardless of gender, I guess. But like, I'm not completely heartless. I do have some sympathy for my father. Uh, I even have some, deep down, I do have some sympathy for my mother. So, but taking care of them, like paying their bills and what, that's different from like a life-threatening emergency. You know what I mean? But anything beyond that, I would be very hard pressed to help. I would be hard pressed to help. Which might sound like I'm ungrateful for certain things that they have indeed done, but I'm not. It's simply that they have been so completely overshadowed by everything else that it just it goes beyond redemption, and it goes to the point where if right now they were to turn around and tell me, hey, do you need like this much money to get by? Do you need this much money to, you know, something like anything, like, oh, do you need to buy a PC, a new PC, right? Let me just help you buy a new PC, even partially. I would be like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Or if I was to ask, I would be like, hey, got any spare money or something? And literally, that's our communication level, which isn't there, because that's gonna happen like once every 8 years or something, because I will try to actively avoid as much as possible any kind of communication anyway, and especially I will try to avoid asking for shit. I guess in a way it also kind of feeds like the very rare times that I have done that, where I was very pressed and something came up or whatever. It was very awkward, and I'm pretty sure it fed my mother's sense of control over me. And sorry, burp. It feels like maybe that's, if not one of the major reasons that she would, let's say, push some money my way. Because honestly, yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's all I'm gonna say.
And to be honest, I didn't even really taste them. So it was pretty much the same thing. Didn't even bother me. And so, I had like taken at that point, my teeth had like totally rotten out. And so I had taken pliers.
Hey Neris, how are you doing? I hope you're okay. You had such a rough day today. I'm gonna finish this video because we're very close to the end now. I've talked about everything that I wanted. It's been a beautiful video, honestly. It's been a beautiful video. I really liked it. Anyway, and it gave me a lot of material that's meaningful to say, and not just, commenting on hecklers, on Guild Wars 2 hecklers. This is much more meaningful, and the thoughts that it conjures and feelings it conjures are much more interesting to talk about. So yeah. Take your time, still need to get home and eat. Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Like break pieces of my teeth off, even like if I wasn't able to speak during a stream because like a point was like poking my tongue, or like playing a game or something like that, talking to people. And so I still have the pliers actually in my bathroom from all the way back then. And So this had happened for quite a while, and then I guess you could say I started like I guess like the second phase of my life of like trying to remove myself from like caring about being worried about the outcome of other people. It was always very scary for me to know that like my mom would die one day, right? This was extremely scary. This was like the one thing that I didn't want to have happen. And in 2021, it did happen. And so leading up to that was incredibly stressful. She pretty much did everything that she possibly could. I love her, but she did every fucking thing that she could to make things as absolutely unpleasant as possible. Oh my god. And so, yes, yes, yes. It was very frustrating to deal with somebody like that. But, she was 70 at the time. And so it really, really, really hurt. And it's, like she was the main person in my life that I was like most connected to. And like, this is the person that I had like the deepest emotional connection with. And just,
It's so interesting to hear someone else's perspective on their family. I will never feel this. I am not capable of feeling this, and I never will. That ship has sailed ever since I was very young. Yeah, but I'm really sorry that he lost his mother. I wasn't aware. Yeah.
just lose them. And it was kind of random, by the way. Like things got worse over time, but it was nothing like at the very end there. It just kind of went off a fucking cliff. And so this happened, and then at about the same time, a little bit after that, I also broke up with a long-term girlfriend at the time. And then at the same time, my dad got so fucking sick that we were like talking about writing his will, like, and he's still setting all that up because he doesn't know if this shit's gonna happen again, right? What's gonna be? And he's 77 too, so it's rough, right? It's bad. And he went through pneumonia 4 fucking times in a year. And so, and he's still getting around, going to the store, etc. But I got to help him every once in a while too, right? And it is what it is. And so again, and we don't have any family around here, and so if something goes wrong, if something's bad, there's one person who's responsible for that, and that's me. And so that's a lot of stress. It's a lot of pressure, right? And I had all 3 of these things happen to me.
Do you want to know something weird? I don't feel this pressure. I'm like, if my if my parents go, I will be not that emotionally distraught. I will be distraught. I will be like when my grandfather passed, that hit me. I don't think it's going to be the same with my parents. With everything that I've told you about, you should be able to service as much. So to me, this is something I will never experience. In a way, that's sad. In a vacuum. In another way, they've... Mostly my mother, I'm gonna say that right now. Mostly my mother, not my father that much. They've created so much problems at that point. All right, in order not to sound heartless, I will use another example. Back when I was into exclusive relationships, I would get in a relationship where things would get so damaged that at that point breaking up was the preferred pain. And I knew. And so when I felt sad, it felt fake, because I was sad that something happened in a vacuum, like a relationship ended, a person won't talk to me ever again. Because most of them do, but some didn't. And those who were those with whom I was in such relationships with, well, we don't talk, obviously. They weren't many, but they were there. And so I was, it's such a weird feeling, because I was feeling guilty for not feeling sad, which made me feel sad, because I should be feeling sad. Instead, I was feeling guilty sad. Does that make fucking sense? Because I cannot express it better. So that's what I expect I'm going to feel in a situation that I don't want to mention, because some people are really on good terms with their parents and that might trigger them. So I'm not going to mention it, but you understand what I'm trying to say here, right? I think you do. And if not, then fine. It's one point that you missed. That's fine. You can live with that, and I can live with that, so that's fine. But yeah, that's the kind of relation I have with my family. Beyond my immediate family, between you and I don't give a shit. Because they don't give a shit. Never did. I'm alone, basically. Accepting one or two people. Neris, for example, is one of them. But I'm completely just hanging by a thread. Just alone. That's it. And yeah, poverty is a reality that might hit. And yeah, I can feel a lot of things. I'll tell you also another secret. Back when I started streaming, like at the very, very start, when it was still like an idea in my head, I was wishing, it wasn't a delusion or an illusion, but it was a wish, it's different, that I would hit it big, that I would actually be able to drag myself out of that, you know, fucking wretched situation I was in. But then, you know, obviously, that lasted like a few moments, and then I was like, no, I would like to stream anyway, which is why I'm streaming anyway, even though I'm just a piece of shit on the map when it comes to Twitch, and that's fine, you know. I don't know. I got you, and you got me, and we're just chilling on stream, and that's pretty fine, you know.
Within pretty much 1 year of each other, maybe 2 years with the thing with my dad. And so at that point I began the second part of, I think that, like, you know, my abstraction of reality is that I've tried my best to remove myself from caring about other people as much as I can, and not caring about them in terms of, like, you know, being friendly. Of course I'm friendly with people, but being emotionally attached to having them in my life, being emotionally attached to the way that they feel about me and how they're doing. It's been very hard for me to actually have any sort of feelings towards people when it seems like everybody that was important to me is fucking dying. And so or leaving me, right? Or breaking up with me. So at a certain point...
Oh boy, that hit hard. That hit so hard. Everyone that is important to me leaving me, that is a nightmare. That is hell, that is torture. And I've experienced it with friends and with partners, and I'm so glad I'm so through with that shit. I'm so glad it's over. And everyone who was gonna leave me has left me, and the people who are gonna stay are the people I want to stay. And I'm glad this is done. I'm so glad this is fucking done. I'm never gonna go back to that time when I had like 10, 12 steady friends, only to see them just like literally peel off like dead skin for me. Yeah. Moving on.
You just kind of get away from that. And then after that, we entered into, I would say, the third phase, which is the point where I lose the connection with myself. And I think that whenever I finally do that, I think that maybe one day I might be happy again. And what I mean by that is that I always worry about, like, dying and, you know, all this stuff, and like how I'm, you know, like where do you go, what happens, right? And it would be very, very stressful for me. And I usually reassure myself by reminding myself that I'm just a hyper-intelligent monkey that probably evolved too fast. And I think that we all are, by the way. It's not like I'm special. And that usually is oddly reassuring. But otherwise, it was very stressful.
That is not reassuring at all, Asmon Gold. That is shit. No, there is no reassurance with death. I've told you about, I've talked about my take on death, right? Nothing is reassuring to me. the most reassuring thing to me is, I don't know, aliens invade and I die fighting. That's reassuring. A slow death from old age is not reassuring, and that concept can go fuck itself up the ass with a spoon, for real. If I had, I shit you not, if I had like the kind of money that, let's say, Elon Musk has, regardless of where they would come from, and I state that right now, regardless of where they're coming from, if I had that kind of money, all of that would go into whatever research could potentially lead to understanding and stopping this process, or at least delaying it as much as possible. That's what I would fucking invest everything in, every single resource in, everything. That and various sicknesses that lead to that. And I think there's not like anything else that you can invest on that is like a priority. Maybe space exploration, but like not even, because you can't really do that alone, right? But I don't know, it's like yeah, death is for me something that is like an issue that humanity has to kind of resolve at one point. Just, I don't know, that's what I feel in my heart of hearts. I find it to be such a stupid thing to exist. It's so fucking miserable and sad, not in a good way. Will I ever deal with it? I don't want to deal with it. It's like I want to extinguish it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to come to terms with it. I would rather, to give you an example of how much I hate this fucking thought, if it's not obvious by all the things that I've said about it over time, I would rather just, you know, when I know it's time or it's close to time, I would rather just pack a fucking case and disappear into the mountains and see if I die from cold or something, or fighting weird animals. I don't know why I said weird animals, but I meant wild animals, or something like that. I would much prefer that than like sitting in bed and going like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like croak right now. Fuck that shit. That shit should be patched out of life, for real. That shit should be passed out, and I think anyone who has come to terms with it is basically breathing copium. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. I had an interesting discussion about that with a neurosurgeon of all things, who was a family friend, I would say, and I was like, you know, it kind of came up because we were talking about, you know, health and everything, and I was like, dude, because he's my age, I was like, dude, your patients, right? When they go under, like, aren't they afraid? How can people like how can people not be afraid of death? And he was like, you know, it's not some kind of like mystical wisdom I'm gonna part with here, just a regular conversation between friends. And he was like, well, you know what? Everyone is afraid. Like, even I am afraid of death. Like right now, I'm fucking trembling. I don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. Fucking nobody. But what people do is like they cope. They distract themselves from the thought, because if they didn't, they would spend their whole life in extreme duress and stress and sadness. And then I told him, well, there you go. That's how I feel. That's what I'm fighting back, because I don't have anything to distract me from that. And when it fails, what happens is what I've described like in the past, where I will, for example, jump out of my bed just screaming and punching things, thinking that I'm punching death, and thinking that I'm screaming at death, and how bad it makes me feel. I envy the people who are able to push the thought farther back than I can, because for me, it's not really far back at all. It's always there. As cringe as it sounds, or cheesy or corny, it's always there. That thought is like in the shadows of my fucking room every day and night. And I have to fight it off. And the only distraction, you know what the only distraction is that works for me? other people, seeing people who are alive with me in the same reality, that we're together, you know, that at least there's someone else there. That's the only thought that keeps other people is what keeps me. Anyway, so essentially you could say it's life that keeps me, because I see other people who live, you know, and it kind of feels empowering to see other people who are real. They're there, you know, you can talk to them. Anyway.
For me, and I did think that I was farther along. I thought I would be okay with dying until I thought that I was dying, and then I realized that I wasn't as far along as I thought I was. Recently, whenever I had a blood pressure reading of 194, which is a high score so far, you know, at least so far. And so things have been improving since then, by the way. But anyway, this has been, you know, my life, and I stopped really caring about anything. I stopped caring about what happens to me. I stopped caring about what happens to other people. I stopped caring about what people think about me. And I felt that the more that I have, the more that I've cared about things, the more unhappy I've been as a person. And I think that this is true on like a base level. Is this some sort of pathological problem for me? I think it probably is. But at the end of the day, this is the best way that I know to cope with it, right? And so for me, the way that I live and everything is a manifestation of that. It's always been this way for me. My mom, like growing up, things were pretty messy, etc. But then even now, things are worse than they ever have been in terms of like being messy. But you know, I never really think about it or worry about it because I'm just never really, it doesn't even cross my mind. I'm thinking about things that I want to think about. I'm doing things that I want to do. And I never think about what other people think about me. I don't think about how it affects other people. I don't think about...
For me, like, I know he's not talking about that, but to go back to what we were saying, for me, another comforting thought, which may or may not be accurate, but it keeps me going, isn't like some belief in some god or whatnot. It's simply like I have things I want to do, and I vehemently refuse to go until I at least do these things. And probably once I do them, I'll want to do other things. As simple as that. And I'm like, no, I refuse to go. I just refuse. And you know, as I said, better like an alien invasion that means we all die in a glorious war for mankind than just in your bed. Which, or better just fucking off to a very cold mountain and start climbing and see what happens. And that's it. Yeah, better that than like any other thought. I don't know.
How they feel or anything like that. And it might sound like a bad thing, but it's made me a happier and more fulfilled person, not worrying about anybody else really other than myself unless I have to. And it's been very like weird for me getting older, especially, and you know, like having like priorities change in your life, and you know, having different things happen to you. And so I wanted to make this video and kind of like explain like kind of how I got to be this way, and hopefully a little bit of this can like explain why do I behave this way, why am I like this, why do I have no shame with things, right? It's because I've lived a life where I've tried desperately to hold on to it.
He does say that he has no shame with things, but earlier in the video he does say also that there are things that I wouldn't share because it would change your perception. A bit of a clashing opinion, even though, you know, I understand having a couple of things you wouldn't ever mention, but I wouldn't do that. I don't know, I also have no shame. I've talked to you about earlier years of mine where I was literally flinging shit, you know, off a stick in the middle of the road with my cousin onto incoming cars. So there isn't much for me. I don't understand this. It doesn't compute. This thought that some things must be kept away, it never made any sense to me. It's like, whatever. I don't know. It's really whatever. Maybe it's part of my almost obsession with like never lying or never withholding information. I don't know.
Any degree of dignity that I've had and anything that I've had, and it's just slowly been taken away from me. Whether it's myself, pieces of myself, other people, or the way that the world sees me. I think that the more that I've kind of just, let things flow freely and not care about it, the more happy and content that I've been. And
You don't say. You don't say. What was that song's lyrics? Bruce Dickinson's song? How happy is the human soul when it's free of control, or something along the lines of that. It is unbelievable, like how it changes your life if you can even experience it for like one moment. You then know instantly that there is like something perpetual, infinite, that you can have, that you can achieve. And me having been there, like literally having my soul literally smiling because I had no worries, I felt that. I want it again. I want it really bad. So yeah, yeah, Asmon Gold. Yeah. took you long enough to realize. It's such a common thing. Like, of course, if you're free from all the worries that like, I hate saying this, but like modern society, quote unquote, puts on you, and all these systems that we have in place put on you. It's a completely different life. Anyway.
so it's an ongoing process, and began whenever I said, I guess I said I was like 13, and I guess the last thing for me to do is really to let go of myself and, just finally be content with my own existence for the time that I exist. And I'm not really a religious person. I'm not a spiritual person either. I don't believe there's any light at the end of the tunnel. I definitely don't think so. And I just try to make the best of being in the tunnel. And so that's why I live the way that I do. That's why I do the things that I do. That's why I say the things that I do. That's why a lot of criticism and things like this, of course I don't like it. Of course I don't like it. But it doesn't really emotionally affect me in the same way that I think it does for other people. And it used to affect me a lot more, but I've, gotten a little bit better at least at dealing with it. And so hopefully this can answer some questions and kind of give people a little bit more insight into my life and the kind of person I am. And that's pretty much about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to cover. 30-minute video. Actually, I was expecting it to be longer. So, that's my life story. That's what's happened to me in general. And that's why I am the way I am. And will I ever change? Maybe, maybe not, right? I mean, I honestly, like, making a lot of money on Twitch and, like the notoriety and everything, like people recognize you. I mean, I just I guess it's nice, right? And I mean, sometimes having money is way better than not having money. But in terms of like, having a lot of wealth, I live in my same house. I use my same desk. I, for a very long time drove my same car. I eat in the same places. I do the same things. I really haven't changed at all, honestly, ever since I was like younger, ever since my stream got popular. And
Yeah, it is kind of like that, because I mean, what did change with when I had like a fuck ton of money? What changed mostly was that I wasn't worried. Just like Asmogul says, I just did mostly the same things. I just turned it out. If something was turned to 6 or 7 with lots of money, I would turn it to 10. Clubbing, for example, I would buy everyone drinks. I would, club more. But the lifestyle itself and all that didn't change. I really just don't think that a lot of money would. I don't know. To me, money is like a gun. It won't do anything on its own. It's like what you do with it, and if it does something to you, it's because that something was always there. That's my opinion on it, and I haven't seen anything that will make me say otherwise. I don't believe all that, you know, oh, that guy, yeah, now that guy is rich and that changed, the money changed. No, the money didn't change him. He's always been that way. He just didn't have enough money to express it, to act on it. It's just enabling. It's not, resulting. It's enabling. So yeah. Anyway.
And maybe one day I will, maybe one day I won't. At the end of the day, I think that one thing that I've always really kind of focused on and thought about a lot is that I have complete and absolute agency over my own life. I can do anything that I want to do, and I can not do anything that I don't want to do. And I think that's been a very comforting fact. And so people ask me, like, are you ever going to do this? It's not something I'm really thinking about changing right now. But in the future, I might change my mind. I just don't know yet. And so I just try to live life and enjoy it and, be able to experience things for the way that they're meant to be experienced. And really, I don't care a whole lot about that even either. I don't care about, going out or having certain life experiences or, oh, you'll regret this. Well, who cares if you regret this when you're old? You're about to die anyway. It doesn't even matter. And so I've never really felt that way. It's just it's not in me. And so that's really my whole life. And that's why I live the way that I live.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, there aren't many things that I care about either, if you think about it. Like, I don't think like, oh, I should at least once visit Tibet or something. Or I should at least once in my life bungee jump or shit like I don't care. Not in this morbid way that Asmongold says, where it's like, oh, you're gonna die in the end. No, it's not that. It's like I have other priorities. I have other things that I enjoy doing and I'm pretty set in them. And yeah, as he says, yeah, if the idea warmed itself into my mind, I could consider it, but it's been 42 years and I'm pretty sure about what I want and how I want it and when I want it and about what I want. So, unless I said that already, I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, laugh at it if you will, but if I had like insane amounts of money, what I would do is like, my priority would be to live longer because I enjoy being alive. So I would probably pump all that shit into the appropriate like scientific, research or something. I don't think I would do anything else. Like, nothing matters if you're gonna die in the end. And I kind of agree with that, not from a nihilistic point of view, as in, oh, but if you're gonna die, then why do this and why do that? No, it's not that. It's like some things I don't give a shit about as long as I'm covered. And if I'm well covered, then there are some things that I do give shit about, which will enable me to do whatever else I want for fucking eternity, in theory, philosophically, and, philosophically speaking anyway, because who knows. So yeah. Plus, to me, going about it the way of do this before you die. What if you didn't die, though? Have you thought of that? Why would I be thinking about the thing that I need to do, quote unquote, before I die, when the problem is dying? Right? After that is taken care of, at least partially, then I can think about what I will think about. But it doesn't also mean that I think that everything is worthless or shit like that. No way. It's actually the opposite. I think a lot of things are worth it. That's why I think living is worth it. Just being alive is worth it. Like, imagine this. You can't die anymore, right? You can't die from old age. All you have to do is make sure that you don't get, sick or something. But let's assume for this example that this is also taken care of. So now you can't die. Well, now all you have to worry about is just, well, nothing. You can just live. You can start walking, You can open your door and you can start walking and see the whole damn world, and then afterwards, eventually, maybe the universe. Who the fuck knows? You see everything. It's just, you can't die, right? So you can do anything you want. You can see everything, do everything, taste every single food, meet every single person, in theory. I don't know. I think living is very underrated. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Well, that's what I got for you. Let's allow Asmon to close up, and then I'll close up, and then I'll be gone until it's Baldur's time.
It's why I do things the way that I do things, and you know, maybe one day it'll change, maybe one day it won't. Who the fuck knows? Tune in next time to find out. So anyway, guys, hopefully this is a little bit more informative, etc. And shit, I got an early end for the day. We had to record something early, so I came home. I figured I'd record this, and it's only 6 p.m. And so I don't know what the hell to do with myself now. I'm not streaming. I'm gonna go walk around my house like an NPC. And so, like, I don't know what to do. I'm probably gonna go play video games. So anyway, guys, thank you all very much.
Yeah, that I feel that. I feel that, dude. I feel that. Every time. That is the reason why I don't want to stream too much. Because I like it so much that, like, whenever I close my stream, it's like, if I didn't have, like, if I didn't have gaming buddies, right, which I do, a couple of them, more, like maybe a handful of them is more appropriate to say, and if I didn't have, like, two very special people, one of them is Neris, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. So imagine streaming so much and so often that you amplify that feeling, right? I don't want that. I don't want that. But then again, unlike Asmongold, I am very content with my routine. I can turn off my stream and then watch shit on YouTube and play a game and be happy with simple things. You know, it's fine. But I do feel what he said. I do. Sometimes it hits me, where it's like, I break this connection that we form through stream. And I'm talking about you and me now. And it feels empty a little bit. Which the fun thing is that it might already be empty because maybe nobody's watching or giving a fuck. Which may sound like I'm complaining, but no, I'm actually, you know, entertaining a possibility here. And it still would, you know, even if it's just one person watching me, but it would feel the same. Even if nobody was watching me, I'd still be like, I don't want to stop, you know. I have to, of course, because I have other things, but I don't really want to stop. It's like, I would like to stay. I would love it if I didn't have to sleep or eat or shit or anything, and just stay on stream all day. And I don't know. I guess the hope in the back of my head would be to, that way, I guess, I don't know, meet more people, but not in the sense that you might think, but in the sense of, like, it's nice to be around people. And I miss it terribly because, of course, I haven't been going out too much because of my, you know, needing to lose weight. Yeah. Anyway, right. So let me let him finish.
For watching. Thanks for listening if you've gotten this far. And yeah, things have been going great for me recently. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's been so supportive and everything. And, you know, my best way that I can say thank you is by doing more of it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. And that's about it. Peace.
Okay, I'm gonna like this video because it is it hits very close to home with many things, and I like this is the only and first video of Asmon Gold that I've watched that I actually go like, okay, yeah, this is good shit. This is good TV, you know. Well said. 99.9% of everything else is just trash to me. I've tried to watch some stuff, but like, whatever. This one though, yeah. Either way, good shit, Asmon, and good shit, chat, whoever you are and however many you are. Time for me to also say my goodbyes, I guess, because I'm going to take a break. It's been almost 2 hours. I'll take a small break until Neris is ready to play Baldur's Gate. And if you don't see me, okay, if you don't see me, it means that we can't, for some reason, play Baldur's Gate, which means I won't stream, and I'll just stream tomorrow instead, which is XCOM Day. So if I don't see you in, like, I don't know, Neri says I'm gonna eat in about 10, and once done, I'm ready. So then scratch what I said, and we will, or I will at least happily wait 15 minutes and then start my stream for Baldur's Gate 3. Thank you for watching, and it's been real, like this. Watching this Asmon Gold video with you in 2 parts, this and the previous one, has been very real, and I needed that. This happened at a very nice time, very good timing, because as you remember, I wanted to get back into talking about myself on stream and sharing stuff about me, and I feel like throughout this video, I had the opportunity to touch on multiple subjects, which I always wanted to talk to you about, but I never had the stimuli to do so because you're all little bitches who just don't talk to me on chat and ask me stuff. So, but I still love you. So, yeah, you can be a little bitch in like 15 minutes, okay? I'll see you for Baldur's in 15, all right? Okay, and if you're not there, take care and thank you for watching, and I hope you found it entertaining. And for the full context, you might want to go on YouTube and watch like the first part of this shit. I think you'll manage to find which of my random reflections videos it is. So yeah, or you know, it's also archived here, so you can make the correlations and find it on YouTube. You know, the title is gonna be the same. All right, we all know what to do. See you in a bit.